everybody on the lineup here, I've all worked with probably over the course of 3-4 months, and we've just gone through this journey of identifying the critical client flow, working at that systems assigns sheet, typically trying to find someone within the organisation that I can pair up with, like a systems champion or an integrator. So if I can get the business owner out of the picture as early as possible, sometimes that hasn't always been the case. But if I can, I try and do that, and what that journey has been like. So maybe to start off with, we know Dana and we know Jamie. I might just get, if you want to pass the mic down, and just a quick intro yourself and your company and what you guys do.
Yeah, hi, I'm Andrew from Sleep Right Australia. Run a company that diagnoses and treats sleep apnea and snoring up in the country.
Yeah, perfect. Mike?
I'm Michael Coleman. I run a company called Digital Thing. We build websites.
Yeah, perfect. And Dave, we know a little bit about Dave, but I'll get you to introduce yourself.
My name's Dave. I run a company called Portavac. We're a roof maintenance business that specialise in this fleet of vacuum gutter cleaning, so we do a lot of that and a lot of roof repairs and restorations. So.
Yeah, perfect. Well, maybe just to start with, and I don't know, whoever wants to jump in can, but I'd love to hear, once you started this journey of systemisation, if you can think of any false beliefs of what you had about systems or what you thought they might be. Like, what was different about what you expected as you started on this journey, and some of the things you've uncovered?
Building websites, very technical, and there are 10,000 ways you can do the one thing, right? And I guess for me it was, I didn't want to sort of be locked down to that because it's very much sort of solution orientated. So I guess when we kind of built the systems, it was more about like what actually gets presented to the actual client, to the customer. So it became a game of like, I'd send the same email like 5 times a day, and it was just like, and I'd write it differently every single time, and now it's like stored in the one place, and it's just copy paste, and it's like 2 seconds to do it. So
yeah. I think one thing that when we work together as well is kind of getting very clear on what that deliverable is and coming up with the vanilla package.
Yeah.
And one other thing I found really interesting with you guys was part of your culture, which we talked about very early on. What was that point in your culture that you are involved in every project?
Yeah.
How's that?
So I guess we're kind of like a boutique agency, right? And you can go to like bigger agencies and pay a lot more money, and at the end of the day those guys are getting the junior burgers to execute the work and to manage the clients. So we kind of had this, I guess when we started like 5-6 years ago, was we wanted to sort of be integrated from where to go in a project, and we still are now, but not as much.
I found it really interesting. It was built into their culture, so they've got their 7 points of culture or something like that, and one of them was that both Mike and his business partner were integrated in every project, which already we can kind of see will create some challenges, because then now we can only scale as large as you guys, but we've at least opened up capacity now, because now certain things can get done and you can work on more projects.
Yeah, totally. And to that point as well is, I guess we thought that next step of scaling was very much about hiring like a gun to basically replace us, like a $90,000 hire project manager type thing. But it's sort of apparent that we actually don't need that. We just need almost like a junior burger just to execute all these little tasks for us.
Yes.
And just free up our time and sort of save us.
Yeah. Like, I think a lot of the administration type roles, when you strip that out of roles, can actually make your team members work on more valuable tasks. I see that all the time, particularly with salespeople. You really want your salesperson on the phone making sales calls. You don't want them doing a whole lot of the pre-qualification and research and preparing quotes and things like that. If you can strip all of that out and get them focusing on their highest value task, then you'll get a big win there. Anyone else want to jump in around like some thoughts that you had about systemisation that maybe changed as you started to work on it? Yeah, Dave?
So my biggest thing was right at the start when I first met you, and that's probably why we ended up doing work together, was you putting it to me that I was the worst person for it. I was having a chat with some of the guys before, like I'd tried it a few times before. This is our 3rd attempt at doing systems, so I realised the value, but I still thought that it was going to be this is going to be all on me. I know even that's what was said, but then even once we got started, I'm still sort of waiting for the catch line where I had to then spend weeks doing it myself. But that's been the greatest part of the experience for me, because I was always expecting that I'd have to do it.
Who refers to systems? Obviously, some of your team do. Do you guys look at the systems? And if you do, what are some of the systems that you refer to most? Or is it, hey, I don't really look at them because I'm not involved in the operations? I don't even know the answer to this. I'm just more curious. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. So, with our work, we do payment plans from time to time for people when they want to purchase an expensive bit of equipment. And for me, that's usually someone else's job. And one day it came across that there was a potential to make a sale to somebody, and I didn't know the process. And I went, oh God, what am I going to do? And I said, oh yeah, system up. So I logged in and looked through, and I went payment plan, procedure, opened it, 7 steps, done. So yeah, I use it from time to time for things. I've sort of stepped out of my business a bit over the last 12 months. And yeah, I'm starting to learn a few things from what the staff have put in there.
Yeah.
Some of the procedures they've created.
Separating yourself from it and starting to see your businesses operating over here gives you a real different perspective as well. Then you start to think about some of those things we talked about in scale around scorecards and dashboards, which then you start to monitor the health and what's going on in the business based on what the numbers are showing, not necessarily you being really, really in it. So that's a good way to then manage a little bit further away. You guys use System Hub, but from a project management point of view, what are the different platforms that you guys use for project management? You don't have project management in place, do you? No.
We've got our CRM, but we don't have a huge amount of need for it. But we would with this, systemology side of stuff. Yeah.
So you because we've got the how-tos on how things are done, but at the moment, I mean, Dave obviously works with a lot of tradies and people out there on the tools, and we talked about this, I think, and you're kind of like, oh, the least I'm going to be able to get a tradie to log into Asana and be checking things off. And I have seen some businesses design software to help with that project management. There's a guy who runs a removalist company, and similarly he recruits people that might not necessarily be technically proficient, so he generated his own little app that stripped out all of the other noise of a project management software and literally has the person, I've checked in, step number 2, have I said this to the client, check. So that can be another way to do it as well if you think like project management might not work with your team members, but obviously a bit more of an investment. What other tools do you use, Mike?
Yeah, we're in Trello.
Trello, yep.
We're just basically on our CRM, so that's an area we have to improve on as well.
Yeah. And they're the migration manager, that's the name of theirs?
Exactly, so we can, so it's just a migration software or CRM that's purpose built.
Yeah.
We just run our reports out of that. So it's not as advanced or as good as what we want it to be, but I think that getting the core systems and processes in place, and just to Dave's point about the amount of work that you actually do in it, I mean, Dave Jennings says, you don't actually have to, you're not the best person to work on it, but at the start you actually do have to invest the time. And I think once you've sort of said, okay, this is what it looks like moving forward, then the rest of the team, actually we've got different champions through different sort of visa subclasses, etc., and they're responsible for keeping those documents. So you do need that initial start, but once you've got it, it's amazing how much sort of goes on without you.
Yes, yeah. Do you guys have project management in place?
We've got Infusionsoft, Asana, and I use Slack.
Yes.
But I'm finding we're actually not using them effectively. We always refer back to just sending emails to each other, which isn't great.
Yeah.
But
and the takeaway that I wanted you to get here is the magic isn't in the software. Like you can use any different things and still build up a successful business as well. So don't get hung up on finding that perfect software tool that's going to solve all of your problems. I'm not too sure, most of you didn't see all of the presentations, but you've heard me talk about visionaries and integrators before, and visionaries is often the business owner and the person who starts up. The integrator is sometimes the person more operations based. Do you have someone that would fill that role as like an operations manager? How did you find that person? How does that sort of relationship work, and are you clear on who's doing what?
Yeah, so I'm like, he's my business partner, and I guess for a long time we didn't realise each other's roles. And I think when we did this Systemology Day, a while back. It was like the light bulb moment where I was the visionary. I'd get stuck to like 60% of the way there, and my business partner Chris would just finish
Take
it
it the
off,
whole way.
and
Yep.
make polish of it. So.
And usually visionaries, they're happy to join panels like this. I tried to
Yeah,
get
Chris
tried to
came
get Chris
over.
along,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
like, no. And I think
building stuff.
Dana said if it was up to me, I wouldn't be sitting up the front here. But Jamie's like, yep, let's go. That's right. Yeah, Dave.
Yeah, like I absolutely do. I have Braden, who, look, the relationship with Braden started working for me just as a roofer.
Yep.
End up coming into the office to help me out with the computer, and after a while I'd say, oh, you stay here and do that, and I'll go do your job on the tools for a bit. So the relationship, as the business got bigger and bigger, like it was a really natural progression to a point where he's actually brought equity into the business.
Yeah.
But even that, so me and Braden work extremely well together, like on exactly on that relationship. But we've always got another one sort of up and coming, which is Kane as well.
Yeah. Yep.
He's
Our
he's
systems
getting
champion.
Yeah, our
Yeah.
systems champion. So he's getting really good at, I suppose, understanding me, my limitations, and
Yeah.
what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, and yeah, sort of just owning that as well. So I've got one that I absolutely rely on, and sort of another one up and coming as well. So,
Yeah. Finding those people are really key. Andrew, do you want to tell us a little bit about? Do you have one?
Well, we had Denise, and then
That's-
she
yes.
left.
Yes.
So I hired Denise probably 3 months ago, and I knew her from a previous role working with her, and thought that this would be perfect for her, and it was. Except I could only get her 1 day a week to get in there, but she basically got us through that 3 months of System Hub, and we decided to part ways. But she was really good.
How are you managing things at the moment? Because you mentioned that you're not as on the tools as you used to be now. Like without the integrator, how does that?
We were probably a bit like for what we actually do, and because we're in a small environment, we probably didn't really need
Yeah.
System Hub now.
Yeah.
But I was looking at possible franchise, possible distributor, possible second or third clinic up in
Yeah.
Queensland as well. So I sort of had it in mind for the future. So it
Yeah.
hasn't really affected us because
Yeah.
we've worked together for 2 years as a group, and we understand what's going on. So it's hard to say. We haven't had to really implement the systems, and we haven't really got to put them to the test yet.
Because all the team members that are doing the task know how to do it pretty well. I think where they'll become most valuable is if that team member left or something changed, then you'd go, oh, okay.
If Wendy
Yes.
leaves me, fingers crossed she doesn't, but
Yeah.
if it comes to the point where she was to find a better role or something,
Yeah.
she's a crucial part of the team, and we've been able to extract some information from her, and
Yeah.
same with the other two guys as well. They're all very, very important, but life happens sometimes and things
Yeah.
change. So when we put it to the test, hopefully it works.
The last question I'll ask, and then again we'll see if anybody else has got one, is around the optimisation. Like, have you guys done much with optimising and improving the system? We work a lot about capturing what you're currently doing. Has there been much thought? I don't know who wants to jump in around. Did anyone have any questions? Or I just wanted to give you a little bit of an insight of what it's like when you go through the journey of systemisation.
Just a question. I know Jamie referred to the time frame of the implementation, but how long did it take? Like once you sort of got the gist of it and whatever, how long did it take to get to that first phase of setting it up?
So I think it was probably about 3.5, 4 months. Dave and
Yeah.
I each week had a call and were basically recording our systems.
And how much time was the other question?
It was like an hour and a half a week. So it just depends. Like if it was quite chunky, then we'll just allocate it an hour and a half. Or sometimes we try to do, a couple of processes within the one session. So generally no more than, an hour and a half, 2 hours max with just some prep. I think maybe earlier in the day you would have covered. So just having that sheet of what to expect and, what you're going to run through in that session. So 2 hours generally a week.
Yeah, which is the pre-extraction form that she was referring to there. Cool. All right. Thank you so much for coming down.
you.